Chosen one. Listen closely, for heaven paused the noise around you just to whisper this truth. You made God laugh today. Not because of perfection, not because of grand miracles, but because of the small, almost invisible way you chose light over darkness. When the weight of the world pressed on your shoulders and you whispered, God, He still trusts you. Heaven erupted in joy. The Almighty looked upon you and smiled, not a distant, unreachable smile, but the tender laughter of a father watching his child try, stumble, and rise again. There is something divine about your resilience. You've faced storms that would have drowned many, yet here you are standing, breathing, believing, and that makes heaven rejoice. Do you realize that your very existence disrupts the enemy's agenda? Every time you choose faith when fear screams louder, you cause heaven's laughter to echo across eternity. You may not hear it, but heaven hears it clearly, the sound of a soul refusing to give up. God's laughter is not mockery, it's celebration. It's the sound of grace, recognizing progress. When you felt small, unseen, or unworthy, God was already leaning forward, saying, look at my child. They still believe, even in your confusion. When you muttered prayers between tears, heaven saw it as worship. That single act of faith, a whisper, a sigh, a decision not to quit, became a melody that made heaven smile. Do not think for a moment that your journey has gone unnoticed. You've carried burdens quietly, smiled through heartbreak, and offered kindness even when your own heart bled. That is divine strength disguised as ordinary life. When you forgave someone who didn't deserve it, when you prayed for those who hurt you, when you smiled instead of complaining, those were the moments when God said, that's my child. And laughter rolled like thunder through the heavens. Listen, chosen one. The joy of the Lord is not a fleeting emotion, it's a power source. It revives the weary and strengthens the broken. Heaven's laughter over you is proof that your story isn't over. It's a sign that God still delights in you, not because you have done everything right, but because you've allowed Him to shape your heart. And when the Father finds a willing heart, He can do more with that than all the talent or perfection in the world. Do you remember the times you tripped over your own words? The times you made mistakes and immediately regretted them? Heaven didn't scold you. Heaven laughed with gentle love, because growth often looks like stumbling in the right direction. God saw your intention, even when your execution was messy. He saw your longing for righteousness, even when your steps wobbled. And His laughter wasn't dismissal, it was affection, the sound of mercy at work. The world may not celebrate small victories, but heaven does. Every time you say, thank you, when life gives you reasons to complain, you strike a note of joy in the heavenly realm. Every time you rise after failure, you remind darkness that it cannot keep you down. God's laughter is the echo of His faith in you. He laughs because He knows how this ends victory, redemption, glory. Right now, pause, breathe. Let that truth settle into your spirit. God delights in you. Not tomorrow, not when you finally get everything right, but today. The angels are smiling because they've seen what you cannot yet see. Your growth, your strength, your becoming. You've made heaven laugh, not because of your perfection, but because of your perseverance. That is the kind of laughter that shakes eternity. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. chapter 8, verse 10. The joy of the Lord is your strength. That means when you smile through pain, heaven's power flows through you. When you choose gratitude in the valley, strength multiplies in your spirit. God's laughter becomes your fuel. His delight becomes your defense. So, chosen one, do not shrink back. Stand tall, even if your knees tremble. Smile, even if your tears still fall. Heaven sees the masterpiece in progress. You are part of a divine comedy written by grace itself, where every sorrow turns to laughter, every failure to testimony, and every scar to a crown. Before you scroll away, take this moment as a prophetic act. Let heaven hear you say, I receive this joy. And if your heart bears witness, share this message. Let others know that God still laughs, still delights, still finds beauty in His children. If this word touched your spirit, like, share, and subscribe, because this is not coincidence, this is divine timing. Comment 777 below as a sign that you receive heaven's laughter over your life today. Chosen one. There is a mystery in heaven that few understand, the divine humor of grace. You see, grace doesn't only mend the broken, it finds joy in the process of restoration. God doesn't merely forgive you, He delights in watching you become who you were always meant to be. Every time you think you've disappointed Him beyond repair, He smiles, not because sin is funny, but because your repentance, your desire to return, is proof that His plan still works. There is laughter in heaven that isn't born of mockery, but of wonder. It's the sound of mercy doing what logic cannot. You might think you've gone too far or failed too deeply, but heaven laughs softly, saying, look how my grace still finds them. Every fall you've experienced, every wrong turn you've taken, becomes the setup for divine joy, the joy of redemption, rewriting your story in real time. Grace has a personality. It dances. It doesn't walk in shame's shadow. It twirls through your mistakes and whispers, even this, I can use. When you finally begin to see yourself as God sees you, not as damaged, but as developing, you'll realize that heaven has been smiling all along. Every scar you carry has been transformed into a signature of survival, what you call imperfection. God calls artistry. What you see as delay, heaven calls divine pacing. The divine humor of grace is this: you were never expected to be flawless. You were expected to be faithful. And when faithfulness meets failure, heaven laughs, because grace gets another opportunity to prove it's stronger than guilt. You can't out-sin grace, can't outrun mercy, can't exhaust love. The laughter of heaven isn't distant. It's the echo of God's joy every time you rise from the ashes. Sometimes, that laughter feels like sunlight breaking through clouds after days of rain. It feels like peace returning after the storm. It's as if heaven itself exhales, saying, they made it through again. You see, grace doesn't just forgive, it restores your sense of wonder. It teaches you to laugh again at the enemy's failed attempts, at the lies that once chained you, at the thought that you were ever unworthy of love. Heaven's humor is redemption's laughter, and you are the punchline that makes eternity rejoice. Think about it. Chosen one, there have been times you've tripped over your own expectations, held yourself hostage to old mistakes, and condemned yourself for being human. Yet heaven didn't echo your self-judgment. Heaven sung over you. The angels saw you trying again, and grace laughed. See, they're still running. There's another layer to this laughter. It's prophetic. Heaven laughs not because of where you are, but because of where you're going. When God looks at you, He doesn't see the mess of today, He sees the masterpiece of tomorrow. And that vision makes Him rejoice. You are walking proof that mercy wins, that grace never retires, and that love still has the final word. Even your quirks, your stumbles, your awkward prayers, they make God laugh. Not out of ridicule, but recognition. The truth is, grace has been laughing since the beginning, from Eden to Calvary. Heaven's joy has always been about restoration. The cross was not tragedy, it was divine comedy. The moment darkness thought it won, and grace turned everything upside down. When the stone rolled away, it wasn't just resurrection, it was heaven's laughter echoing through time. Death, you lose again. That same laughter now echoes over your life. Every time the enemy whispers defeat, grace answers with joy. According to what is revealed in the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 21, He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Do you see it? That word yet means despite everything, even after all you've faced, heaven still has laughter reserved for you. Your joy isn't cancelled by pain, it's cultivated by it. The very trials that tried to silence you are now becoming the rhythm of your laughter. Heaven is still laughing, still rejoicing, still finding humor in how unstoppable you are when grace leads the way. Chosen one, lift your head. The divine humor of grace is your inheritance. You are not a failure, you are a testimony in progress. A living reminder that mercy never runs out. Heaven isn't mocking you, it's cheering you on. Every misstep becomes a miracle in the making. Every I can't becomes a watch me in the mouth of grace. And as long as you breathe, God will keep smiling because His joy is tied to your becoming. Chosen one. There was a day when you thought you failed, when your hands trembled, your voice broke, and your heart whispered, maybe I wasn't meant for this. You remember it well. The silence that followed, the shame that crept in, the questions that swirled like storm clouds in your mind. But what you didn't see was heaven leaning closer, smiling gently, saying, look how my child grows. For even in your perceived failure, you were still moving forward. Even in your tears, you were still becoming. Heaven never judged your weakness, it celebrated your endurance. You fell. Yes, but you fell forward. You questioned. Yes, but your questions were spoken to God, not away from Him. That alone made the difference. You see, heaven measures progress differently. What you called a mistake, heaven called momentum. What you saw as breaking, heaven saw as birthing. The very moment you thought you disappointed God, He was already laughing softly. Knowing that this would become part of your testimony, God's laughter that day was not mockery, it was relief. It was the sound of a father who knew you were growing. Growth often looks like failure when seen from the ground, but from heaven's view, it looks like transformation. You may have stumbled, but you didn't walk away. You may have doubted, but you didn't deny. And that beloved chosen one is what delights heaven most. You stayed, you fought, you tried again, That's why the heavens laughed, not because you were perfect, but because you refused to stop. Do you remember the story of Peter walking on the water for a moment? He began to sink. Fear gripped him, but even as he sank, his eyes stayed on Jesus. That's you. You've had your sinking moments, but you never let go completely. Every time you cried, "Lord, save me," heaven celebrated not your weakness, but your willingness to reach. You made heaven laugh in joy that day, because faith, no matter how small, is still faith. The world says failure defines you. Heaven says it refines you. What you thought was the end of your strength became the beginning of grace's humor. God looked down and said, "They think they've failed, but watch what I'll build on this." The foundation of your future was poured in those very moments of doubt. You learned to depend on Him, to listen deeper, to walk slower, and while you called it loss, heaven called it alignment. The apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That verse isn't a comfort blanket, it's a revelation. It means your weakest moments are not wasted. They are the stage on which God performs His most beautiful work. When you fall, heaven doesn't sigh in disappointment. It leans in with excitement, waiting for the moment you'll rise again. This time, stronger, wiser, softer, chosen one. You have made God laugh more than once. Not because you've been flawless, but because your spirit keeps surprising heaven every time you think, "I'm done," but you pray anyway. The angels exchange glances of joy. Every time you feel unworthy but still worship, heaven stands still in awe. Failure is not your enemy, it's your sculptor. It carves humility into your strength, compassion into your wisdom, and depth into your joy. Do not despise your past. Do not curse the moments that hurt. They were all ingredients of glory. Heaven laughs because it already sees the ending, the moment when everything that once broke you becomes your testimony. You will stand where you once fell, and your laughter will match heaven's. You'll laugh at the fear that tried to silence you. You'll laugh at the lies that said you weren't enough. You'll laugh because grace always has the final word. So today, take this moment to breathe. You don't have to fix yourself to make God proud. You don't have to hide your scars to be loved. You already make Him smile simply by standing up again. Heaven's laughter is your soundtrack. Mercy's rhythm beats through your heart. Now, as a prophetic act, I invite you to write in the comments, "I rise again," not as empty words, but as declaration. Write it because heaven already sees you doing it. When you type it, you're not just agreeing with this message, you're aligning with heaven's perspective. You're saying, "My failure is not my ending. My weakness is not my shame. My story is still being written." Let that confession echo into your spirit, because you are the reason heaven laughs today. You rose again, and that's all heaven ever needed to see. Chosen one. Heaven has a way of replaying your story in moments you will never see. When you think no one notices the effort, the tears, the silent battles you fight behind the curtain of your smile, heaven notices. Angels speak your name with reverence, replaying your quiet victories as though they were epic battles. You see, to the eyes of heaven, obedience in the dark is brighter than any public success, and every unseen act of faith becomes part of heaven's conversation. There are whispers in the courts above holy whispers that recount how you chose faith over bitterness, how you extended forgiveness when your heart begged for revenge, how you worshipped when nothing made sense. Those moments didn't vanish, they became memorials. Angels revisit them like sacred tapestries, each thread woven with your courage. They replay your prayers, your sighs, your whispered, "Help me, God." And every replay ends the same way, with heaven's laughter pure, joyful, triumphant. For the sound of your perseverance delights the heart of the Father. Sometimes, chosen one, you imagine heaven as solemn angels in endless silence, all order and awe. But heaven is also full of sound, the rhythm of worship, the pulse of joy, and yes, the laughter of God Himself. When you stumble and still return, when you trip over your humanity but rise in humility, the Father doesn't turn away. He looks at the Son, who bears your name on His hands, and they smile together. The angels lean in as though watching a great story unfold, and they say, "There it is again, the light that refuses to die." Unseen conversations shape your destiny. The words you speak in faith don't vanish into empty air. They ascend like incense. Every "thank you" in pain, every "I trust you" whispered through exhaustion, becomes evidence in heaven's archives. There are records written in light moments of your courage, sealed in eternity. And though you may never hear the laughter that rises from those archives, it surrounds you every day, flowing through mercy and favor. Imagine heaven looking down, watching you choose forgiveness when it costs you everything. God leans forward, eyes gleaming, and says, "There, look at my child." It's not that your pain entertains Him, it's that your faith amazes Him. He laughs in joy because grace has found another vessel to prove its power. The sound of that laughter shakes off shame, silences accusation, and calls forth blessing. Heaven's conversations about you are not debates of worth, they are songs of delight. There are moments when you feel invisible, as if your kindness goes unnoticed, your love unreciprocated, your prayers unanswered. But heaven's silence is not absence. It's attention. It's the pause before applause. While you wait, the angels speak of your faithfulness. They speak of the times you gave from your lack, prayed while broken, believed without evidence. They remind one another that you are still standing, still shining, and in that remembering, joy ripples through the heavens like waves of light. Chosen one, you are the subject of divine conversation. The Lord has spoken your name in heavenly places, not as a reprimand, but as a celebration. He boasts about you the way He once boasted about Job, saying, "Have you seen my servant?" The tone is the same: pride, affection, laughter. You, the imperfect one, have captured the perfect heart of God. Heaven doesn't see your failures, it sees your endurance. It doesn't replay your mistakes, it replays your returns. The Lord's delight is not shallow, it's born from the intimacy of knowing you fully. He has seen the moments when you wanted to give up, the nights when you questioned everything, yet still you prayed, still you hoped, still you moved forward. And for that, heaven laughs not because you are naive, but because your faith is defiant. It dares to shine even when surrounded by darkness. The Spirit spoke through the psalmist in the book of Psalms. Chapter 149, verse 4. The Lord takes delight in his people. He crowns the humble with victory. That is the conversation of heaven, your humility crowned. Your struggle turned to song. Every time you bow before him, heaven celebrates. Every time you surrender, God finds joy. The laughter of heaven isn't distant thunder, it's the vibration of victory resonating around your obedience. So, the next time you feel overlooked, remember this: heaven is not silent, it is watching. Angels are not absent, they are applauding quietly. God is not disappointed, he is delighted. You are the story heaven can't stop retelling, the one about a soul who kept believing when the world gave no reason to. You are a headline in eternity's journal. A melody heaven hums with joy, and somewhere beyond time and space, even now, God smiles and says again, "Look at my child, they're still shining. Lo, chosen one." Do you know what heaven calls the secret of your endurance? Joy. Not the shallow kind that depends on things going right, but the kind that blooms from broken soil. There's a hidden laughter that God breathes into those who refuse to quit. Even when life feels like ashes in their hands, you have known the weight of sorrow, yet still you rise, and that's why heaven laughs with affection. Because even in your pain, you carry the scent of promise. You are proof that the grave cannot hold the living, and despair cannot drown divine hope. You may wonder, how can there be laughter in suffering? How can heaven find joy in what hurts? But that's the mystery of grace. It transforms even pain into poetry. What the enemy meant to bury you became the very ground where your faith grew roots. Every tear you cried watered something unseen. Every heartbreak carved more room in your heart for God's presence. What felt like punishment was actually preparation, a divine pruning for greater fruit. Heaven's laughter is not mockery, it's the sound of harvest coming after a long, stormy season. The Lord does not waste a single wound. He shapes your scars into stories that save others. You may not realize it, but your endurance has already healed someone who was watching you silently. Someone saw you fall and get back up again, and hope was reborn in their heart. That's what God means when he says he turns mourning into dancing. The dance isn't about ignoring pain, it's about moving with it. Letting grace lead your steps until joy finds its rhythm again. According to what is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That morning isn't always the sunrise after one night. Sometimes it's a season, a slow unfolding, but when it comes, it comes with laughter, so deep it heals places you forgot were broken. The night has its lessons, but the morning always comes, and when it does, heaven laughs because light has conquered darkness once more through you. Beloved, imagine your life as a garden tended by divine hands. Some days the soil is dry, and rain seems far away. Other days, storms come suddenly, tearing leaves and breaking branches. But even then, the gardener does not leave. He prunes, waters, and waits. He knows the roots run deep, deeper than the damage. Your suffering is not wasted rain, it is nourishment for something eternal. That's why heaven laughs. It sees the bloom long before you see the seed break open. Sometimes the laughter of heaven feels like the warmth that wraps around you when you finally breathe again after weeping. It's not loud, it's not forced. It's peace disguised as laughter. Joy disguised as stillness. Heaven's humor is subtle. It hides inside your resilience. Inside the moments you smile through tears. When you wake up and decide to keep going. When you forgive again. When you love, despite rejection. That's when heaven laughs. Because grace has taken root again. And if this message finds you in that in-between, where sorrow hasn't yet turned to joy, where you're still waiting for morning, take heart. The same God who counted every tear will turn them into pearls of wisdom, stories that others will hold on to in their own nights. Your endurance is currency in heaven's economy. You're not being punished. You're being refined. The laughter of God is already echoing through the corridors of eternity with your name written in it. You are being prepared to shine. If this word has touched your heart, let this be a gentle moment of exchange, an act of faith, just as farmers sow seed into good soil. When you share what moves you, when you support what strengthens your spirit, you're sowing into the same field that's feeding you. Like a candle lighting another, your giving keeps the flame alive. Whether you choose to like, share, subscribe, or even donate, it's not about transaction, it's participation. You're saying, this word matters. Keep the fire burning for others. 1. Let your generosity, be it a click, a prayer, or a gift, become part of heaven's laughter too. For each seed of kindness multiplies in unseen ways. Somewhere, another weary soul will smile. Another chosen one will remember who they are. And when that happens, heaven will laugh again, softly, joyfully, saying, the harvest continues. 1. So, beloved, lift your face to the dawn. Let your scars sing and your heart breathe. The secret of your suffering is that it is never empty. It is the soil of your future joy, the foundation of heaven's laughter. God is not done with you. He is rejoicing over you. And if heaven still laughs, then you, too, can begin to smile again. Chosen one. There was a moment you never noticed, an ordinary hour, an unremarkable day, when you spoke life without even realizing it. You didn't preach. You didn't plan. You didn't even know someone was listening. But a single word that left your lips became the spark that lifted another soul from the edge of despair. Heaven caught that word, carried it like a flame, and watched as it ignited hope in a heart that had forgotten how to dream. That's the miracle of divine speech. You don't have to see the effect for it to be eternal. You see, heaven hears differently. When you sigh, heaven hears prayer. When you whisper encouragement, heaven hears prophecy. When you speak kindness to a stranger, heaven records it as intercession. Words are not empty, they are seeds. And you, chosen one, are a sower of light. The field may be unseen. The soil may be someone's hidden pain. But the harvest comes all the same. You spoke life, and heaven laughed not at you, but with joy, because creation still responds when one of God's children speaks in faith. You may have forgotten the conversation. Maybe it was a message you sent in passing, a comforting sentence said through tears, or even a prayer whispered for someone you barely knew. But in heaven's archives, it's written in gold. For in that moment, The Father leaned forward and said, "That one just shifted eternity for someone else. You thought it was small, but the kingdom saw it as monumental. One act of love, one word of courage, became the thread that pulled another heart back from the edge." The ancient wisdom of Proverbs reveals a truth that heaven never stops repeating, according to what is written in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21. The tongue has the power of life and death. Every syllable you release has weight in the unseen realm. You don't need a pulpit to preach. Your daily speech becomes prophecy when your heart belongs to God. Every "I believe in you" spoken to someone lost in darkness is a weapon of light. Every "you are loved" becomes a melody that drives away despair. Heaven's laughter over you today is the laughter of recognition. It sees how naturally you echo your Creator. You carry the same breath that spoke the universe into being. When you use it to speak life, heaven rejoices, because creation remembers its origin. The same breath that called stars by name now calls healing into existence through your voice. That's why your words matter so deeply. You may think you're just talking, but heaven knows you're creating. Think about the people who have crossed your path, friends. Family. Strangers who needed a glimpse of light. Some of them survived because of something you said in a moment of grace. They may never tell you. They may have forgotten your face, but the words you spoke continue to live, echoing in their memory, shaping their choices, strengthening their resolve. That's what heaven laughs about, how you, unaware and humble, keep scattering light in a world so desperate for it. When you speak with love, you imitate the divine pattern. God said, "Let there be light." And there was. You say, "You can do this." And a faint flame rises in someone's heart. Heaven sees the same creative rhythm in you. Every word of truth is a sunrise in another soul. Every declaration of faith pushes back the night a little more. You have no idea how powerful your voice has become in the spiritual realm. You are heaven's echo in human form. Chosen one. Guard that power. But do not fear it. Speak boldly. Speak truthfully. Speak kindly. The enemy trembles at a believer who understands that speech is sacred. Laughter fills the throne room when you choose to bless instead of curse. When you choose encouragement over complaint. When you choose peace over gossip. That's the kind of laughter that shakes the heavens with joy, a father's pride in a child who carries his voice well. And now, as an act of faith, mark this moment. Type 444 inches, the comments below, not as a superstition, but as a sign of recognition that you understand your words create. The number 444 symbolizes divine foundation, the stabilizing power of truth spoken in love. When you write it, you are declaring, "My words will build, not break. My speech will heal, not harm." It's not just a number, it's a covenant between your voice and heaven's purpose. Let that truth settle in you tonight. Every word you speak echoes in eternity. You are not invisible, and your kindness is not forgotten. Heaven still laughs when you speak hope into hopelessness, when you sow peace where others sow bitterness. You are heaven's poet, heaven's echo, heaven's reminder that light still speaks in human tongues. Keep talking. Chosen one, keep sowing words of life. The garden you plant with your speech will bloom long after your voice falls silent, and heaven will keep laughing, softly, joyfully, forever grateful that you dared to speak. Chosen one, Have you ever noticed that some of your most powerful moments of obedience didn't feel grand or spiritual? They felt small, quiet choices. Soft yeses whispered in the stillness. You didn't see the ripples, but heaven did. Every time you obeyed a nudge, even when it made no sense. You moved a mountain in the unseen realm. Obedience is rarely dramatic. It's 1,000 hidden steps that align your path with God's. Heaven smiles at such moments, the kind of smile that carries both pride and tenderness. God laughs softly, saying, "They're learning to trust even when they don't understand." Sometimes, obedience looks like saying nothing when your pride begs for the last word. Other times, it's walking away from something that feels good but isn't right. It's giving when you want to withhold. Forgiving when bitterness feels justified. Or staying when escape seems easier. Each time, heaven takes notice. The world sees a small decision. Heaven sees a seismic shift in destiny. Every quiet yes becomes an echo in eternity. Every surrender, a song that only heaven can hear. There's a reason why obedience moves heaven so deeply. It's the language of love. You can't fake it. You can't force it. It grows from intimacy. God doesn't demand robotic obedience. He invites relational trust. When you follow his whisper, you're telling him, "I trust you more than I trust myself." And that makes heaven laugh with joy, because in that trust, the Creator sees his reflection in his creation again. Your obedience is a mirror that shows heaven that love still lives on earth. Think back to the moments when you acted without knowing why, when you gave away something valuable, called someone out of the blue, or paused to pray for a name that suddenly came to mind. You might have shrugged it off, but heaven didn't. Angels recorded those moments as victories. Because obedience shifts spiritual atmospheres, you followed a whisper, and it became a rescue. You obeyed a prompting, and it became a miracle. God delights in such unintentional obedience. It's the rhythm of heaven played through human hearts. Heaven speaks clearly through the story of Samuel, the boy who heard God's voice while others slept. His obedience didn't come from understanding, but from willingness. You have that same heart. Chosen one. You may not see it, but every time you say, "Yes, Lord," even through confusion, heaven moves on your behalf. The laughter of God in those moments isn't distant, it's close, intimate, full of affection. It's the laughter of a father who sees his child choosing trust over control. Sometimes, obedience costs you comfort. It pulls you out of familiar places, separates you from things that no longer serve your growth. And in that discomfort, you may wonder, did I make the right choice? Heaven answers through joy. That laughter you feel deep in your spirit, the sudden peace after a difficult yes, that's heaven's confirmation. It's God saying, "I'm proud of you." He delights in your surrender, not because he enjoys your sacrifice, but because he sees the strength of your love in it, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, "To obey is better than sacrifice." End quote. That line has echoed through generations because it reveals heaven's preference. God doesn't seek grand gestures, he seeks hearts that listen. Your obedience is worth more than your perfection, more than your public displays of devotion. Obedience is quiet power, and heaven recognizes it instantly. Every yes becomes a flame that lights up eternity. Chosen one. Understand this. Obedience isn't about control, it's about alignment. It doesn't always bring immediate reward, but it always brings divine favor. Sometimes, your obedience saves you from unseen danger. Sometimes, it opens doors you didn't even know existed. And sometimes, it just makes God laugh a holy, joyful laugh that fills the heavens with delight. Because, in your obedience, you prove that love is still stronger than fear, and trust still conquers doubt. You may never fully grasp the magnitude of what your obedience has accomplished, but one day, heaven will show you the ripple effect, the souls healed, the chains broken, the lives touched because you said yes. And when that day comes, you'll laugh too. You'll see how every quiet moment of obedience became a masterpiece of divine orchestration. You'll realize that nothing was wasted, not one yes, not one tear, not one moment of surrender. Chosen one. There are tears. Heaven remembers more vividly than your greatest triumphs. The world sees tears as weakness, but heaven calls them language, the dialect of deep trust. When you cry before God, you are not falling apart. You are worshipping in your most honest form. Those tears are not lost. They fall to the ground, but not to waste. Heaven gathers them as testimony, each drop marked with your name, your hope, your surrender. There's a sacred replay in heaven, a moment where your cries are turned into laughter, not because pain is dismissed, but because it has fulfilled its purpose. Do you remember those nights when the silence was heavy and your prayers felt unanswered? Heaven wasn't ignoring you. Heaven was listening closer than ever. You thought no one heard the shaking in your voice, but heaven did. The angels paused their songs to record your whispers. God leaned closer than breath to catch every word. And when you said, He still trusts you, through the storm of your own heart, a wave of laughter rippled through heaven, not mocking, but triumphant, because your tears didn't drown your faith, they baptized it. The Father has a tender way of responding to tears. He doesn't rush you. He doesn't silence you. He lets you pour it out until the pain drains into peace. Then, at the right time, He breathes over those same tears and turns them into seeds of joy. Every tear becomes a promise waiting for its morning. Every sigh becomes a note in heaven's melody of redemption. You may not see it yet, but heaven already hears the laughter that will replace your weeping. Chosen one. Your tear-soaked prayers have built altars in places unseen. Every time you've prayed when you felt nothing, believed when nothing changed, stayed when leaving was easier, heaven marked it. Your tears are not evidence of despair. They are proof of your persistence. They tell heaven, this one still loves me. That is why God takes them personally. He bottles them up as treasures, keeping them until the time they will bloom into joy. For in heaven's arithmetic, nothing is ever lost, especially not love offered through pain. When you think back on those seasons of deep weeping, remember, every tear was heard. Not one rolled unnoticed. You may have thought your prayers were unanswered, but God was already weaving responses in silence. Heaven was not withholding, it was preparing. Your waiting wasn't punishment, it was orchestration. God needed the right time, the right place, the right revelation. And when it all aligns, laughter bursts forth, and you suddenly understand why you had to cry first. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, Chapter 1, 126, verse 5. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. That is heaven's mathematics. Sorrow is never the end. It is the soil of joy. Every tear you've sown in faith is growing into a harvest of laughter, a melody of thanksgiving that will one day erupt from your soul. Heaven is already rehearsing that symphony, tuning instruments for the day you will sing again. Think of your tears as messages that travel faster than words. They bypass pride, bypass fear, and go straight to the throne of grace. They carry truth no eloquent prayer could express. Heaven reads them fluently. God doesn't just see your tears, He translates them into divine motion. The moment they fall, something shifts. You may not see the wind, but it begins to move. Your cry is never wasted. It becomes the rainfall that nourishes unseen roots of future joy. And here is a mystery. Sometimes heaven laughs even while you cry, not because your pain is amusing, but because God already sees your outcome. He sees the day when you'll look back at the storm and realize it made you stronger, gentler, wiser. He sees the moment you'll hold in your hands what you once begged for. Heaven laughs because it already knows you win. Every tear shed in faith guarantees a future victory. The pain you endured will one day make perfect sense in the language of joy. Chosen one. The replay of your tears in heaven is not a tragedy, it's a love story. Each scene shows your growth, your endurance, your transformation. You cried, yes, but you didn't curse God. You grieved, but you didn't give up. That's why heaven's laughter is full of admiration. God watches you rise from the ground where your tears once fell, shining brighter each time. You are His masterpiece in motion, His melody of mercy, His proof that suffering never has the final word. So now, when tears fall again, let them. Don't rush them. Don't hide them. Don't apologize for them. Heaven understands this language well, and somewhere above you, the same laughter that echoed the day you were born still resonates soft, warm, victorious, saying, they're still here. They still believe. My joy is coming. Chosen one. Have you noticed how God has turned even your wounds into something beautiful? What once felt like shame now carries a strange kind of glory. The scars you tried to hide have become the very evidence of grace. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every dark night, none of it was wasted. Heaven saw each moment, not as failure, but as raw material for redemption. God took your broken pieces and started crafting something that made even the angels pause and whisper. Only grace could do that. And there was a time when you couldn't see beyond the pain. You thought your story was over. You thought your reputation was ruined. Your joy gone. Your purpose forfeited. But heaven didn't panic. Heaven laughed softly. Knowing that this chapter wasn't the ending, it was the turning point. The laughter wasn't cruel, it was confident. God saw what you couldn't see, that your worst moments would become your greatest ministry. What once humiliated you would one day empower others. The very thing that made you cry would become the message that makes others smile again. That's the divine comedy of redemption. God takes what the world calls broken and makes it holy. He turns disgrace into design, sorrow into song, ruin into revelation. When the world says, "It's over," heaven says, "Watch this." You, beloved chosen one, have been living proof that no wound is too deep for grace to heal. Your story is not one of tragedy, it's transformation in motion. You may not realize it, but your scars are preaching louder than your words ever could. They are saying to everyone who sees you, grace still wins. Oh, remember when you were afraid of being seen? You thought, if they knew what I've done, they'd never look at me the same. But God said, if they see what I've done through you, they'll never look at grace the same. That's why heaven laughs when you stand up again. It's the laughter of triumph, the sound of a father saying, even their weakness serves my purpose. You became the living punchline of the enemy's failed plan. According to what is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, He gives beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning. Those words are not just ancient poetry, they are your biography. Heaven already saw your ashes becoming beauty. Every broken place is now a sacred space, an altar where God proved His faithfulness. Your pain was not wasted, it was converted. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You became the kind of person who can look at their scars and smile, not because they don't hurt anymore, but because they testify that healing is real. You've become a living metaphor of grace's humor. The same lips that once spoke doubt now speak hope. The same hands that once trembled with fear now carry peace. The same eyes that once wept now shine with holy laughter. That's redemption. It doesn't erase the past, it reclaims it. Heaven laughs because it knows the enemy's plan backfired. Every wound became a window. Every pain became a platform. And now your story carries resurrection in its rhythm. Chosen one, heaven's laughter over you is not just joy, it's vindication. It's the sound of God saying, see what I can do, your life is living art in His hands. You are proof that nothing, absolutely nothing, can disqualify the one who surrenders. Your shame has become your shining. Your weakness has become your witness. And through it all, heaven's laughter keeps echoing, not at your pain, but through it, declaring, this one chose life. Oh, now, I want you to take a moment to declare something in faith, something that will resonate both in your heart and in heaven. Type, I'm still here. Do it not as a casual comment, but as a proclamation. You're not just typing words, you're speaking resurrection. You're telling the world that after everything, after every mistake, every tear, every loss, you're still standing. You're still chosen. You're still laughing with heaven. When you write it, you join heaven's own declaration over your life. They didn't quit. They turned pain into power. Let this be your confession and your banner. I'm still here, because survival is sacred, endurance is holy, and heaven still laughs every time it remembers that the story meant to destroy you became the very one that glorified God the most. You, chosen one, are the living embodiment of divine humor. The joke's on the darkness now because grace had the last laugh. And it sounds a lot like you, chosen one. Have you ever realized that heaven and earth are not so far apart? There is a rhythm between them, a sacred dance where your faith becomes the melody and God's laughter keeps the tempo. When you move in faith, heaven moves with you. When you praise in the valley, the sound rises like incense, and the throne room echoes it back. You have been living inside a divine duet, your steps below mirrored by heaven's heartbeat above. This is the dance between heaven and earth, where laughter is not just emotion, but power. Laughter in heaven isn't casual, it's warfare. When heaven laughs, darkness loses its rhythm. When you laugh through your pain, you join that holy sound. You've seen this power before, though maybe you didn't notice it. Think of the times you found yourself smiling in the middle of tears, whispering, "God, I know you've got this." That was heaven dancing with you. Joy in sorrow is heaven's choreography. It confuses the enemy and heals the soul at once. Chosen one, you carry that rhythm. Your joy is not a reaction, it's a weapon. The devil expects you to break, but when you laugh, he hears the sound of resurrection. The walls that tried to contain you begin to shake, because heaven recognizes that sound. You've tapped into something eternal, joy that can't be silenced. When you laugh again, when you worship again, when you love again, after being wounded, heaven moves in harmony with you. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 150, verse 6, "Let everything that has breath praise the Lord." That's not just a command, it's an invitation to join the symphony of creation. Every heartbeat, every breath, every whisper of gratitude is music in heaven's ears. Even the wind dances to that song, and every creature adds a note. You were born with a rhythm that matches the heavens. When you live in gratitude, heaven leans closer. When you choose joy over fear, your spirit aligns with eternity's sound. Life on earth is full of noise, chaos, worry, distraction, but heaven's rhythm cuts through it all like a steady drumbeat. Sometimes it's gentle like rain on your window. Other times it roars like the sea. You feel it when peace comes unexpectedly. You feel it when something inside you says, "Keep going, though you're tired." That's heaven moving with you, reminding you that your story is still part of the divine music. Let your laughter, your worship, your kindness be your steps in this dance. You don't have to perform, just breathe, move, and let your spirit flow with grace. Heaven's laughter becomes your anchor. It's what steadies you when storms come. It's the rhythm that whispers, "You're not alone." When the world feels silent, think of it like a river flowing between heaven and earth. Your faith, the current. Your obedience, the movement. Your gratitude, the sparkle on the water. Every time you give, every time you serve, every time you share what blesses you, you pour fresh water into that river. It flows further, touches more hearts, carries more joy. That's how the dance continues. The stream never stops because love keeps it moving. If this message has stirred something inside you, if it reminded you that heaven is closer than you think, then let your heart respond with action. Like, because every click is a ripple that tells the algorithm, let this light spread further. Share, because someone you know might be standing on the edge of giving up, and your simple act might pull them back to hope. Subscribe, not just to follow a channel, but to stay in the flow of what strengthens your soul. And if you feel led, donate not out of pressure, but as a gesture of gratitude. When you give, you're not just supporting a message, you're planting seeds in the soil of countless hearts who need to hear that heaven still dances, still laughs, still loves. Think of it like lighting another candle from your flame. The light doesn't diminish, it multiplies. What you sow in faith always returns as joy. Your giving, your engagement, your presence, they become part of the music. You're helping write heaven's chorus here on earth. Every small act joins the greater harmony of divine purpose. Heaven listens, smiles, and laughs softly, saying, "Look how my child keeps the rhythm alive." So, beloved, chosen one, keep dancing. Let laughter be your drum, faith, your movement, generosity, your melody. The music of heaven is written through hearts like yours, unafraid to give, unashamed to love, unbroken by storms. When you move, heaven moves. When you give, heaven sings. And when you laugh, the rhythm between heaven and earth beats louder still, echoing through eternity. Love is still winning. Chosen one. There are moments when heaven seems to whisper only to you through coincidences that feel too perfect, through symbols that repeat, through songs that play at the exact time you need them. These are not accidents, they are heaven's inside jokes with you. They are love notes wrapped in mystery, reminders that God's relationship with you is not distant or mechanical, but deeply personal and tender. Heaven has a sense of humor, and you are part of it. You were never meant to follow a silent God. You were meant to walk with one who smiles when you finally understand what he's been saying all along. Sometimes God speaks in patterns, numbers, colors, words, moments that recur until you finally pause and say, "Lord, I see it." Heaven laughs gently at that moment, not mocking, but delighted that you're paying attention, like a father hiding behind a door to surprise his child. God loves when revelation dawns on you. It's the laughter of joy, the kind that fills eternity because understanding has bridged the distance between heaven and earth. You are learning heaven's language, the subtle vocabulary of signs and timing. These divine winks don't come to mock your searching, they come to remind you that you're seen. When you find feathers in strange places, when a certain phrase follows you all week, when a door closes only for another to open, moments later, heaven is speaking. The world might call it coincidence, but you know better. You can feel the smile of God in it, that soft laughter that says, "I'm here, and I never stopped guiding you." Every time you notice, you're tuning your soul to heaven's frequency. Heaven's inside jokes are made of love and trust. They appear when you least expect them, often after you've wept or doubted. Just when you think God has gone silent, He sends a whisper in your language, something only your heart would recognize. It might be a memory, a word, a sudden peace that makes no sense. But you know it's Him. The laughter that follows in heaven is pure affection. Angels rejoice because once again, the veil between you and the divine grows thinner. You're not imagining it. Chosen one, you're remembering how to listen. The prophet once wrote that before we call, He answers. Before we speak, He listens. That's how intimate heaven is with you. Sometimes, the divine humor is gentle irony. You fear losing something, and then discover God never meant for you to keep it because He was saving space for something greater. Other times, you rush toward what you think is your destiny, only to find that the detour was the destination all along. Heaven laughs because love sees the end from the beginning. And you, in your faith, are walking right into what has already been prepared. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Those words are the heartbeat of heaven's laughter over you. They mean that nothing surprises God, not your fears, not your delays, not your questions. He already knows how the story ends. And every twist along the way is part of His design to bring you closer. Heaven laughs not at your confusion, but in delight at the journey of revelation. Because each discovery is another thread reconnecting you to the original love that birthed you. Chosen one. The signs you keep seeing are not trivial. They are pieces of a divine dialogue that's been unfolding since before you could speak. Every time you feel alone and suddenly encounter a reminder of His presence, that's heaven saying, I never left. Every repetition, every pattern is heaven's way of making sure you know you're loved personally. Not generally. You are not one among millions. You are one beloved soul whose every heartbeat is known in the courts of eternity. When you respond to those divine nudges, when you say, I see you, God, the laughter in heaven grows louder. It's the sound of recognition, the joy of communion restored. You're learning not to chase signs, but to notice presence. You're not looking for magic. You're recognizing relationship. That's what the inside joke truly means. It's intimacy disguised as coincidence. Eternity disguised as everyday life. And so, chosen one, keep your spirit attentive. Heaven's laughter isn't always thunderous. It's often hidden in your daily rhythm, in the timing of a sunrise, the smile of a stranger, the moment you feel peace without explanation. Heaven's inside jokes aren't meant to confuse you. They are meant to comfort you. They are gentle reminders that God enjoys being in conversation with you, that He's not only your Lord, but your friend, and somewhere beyond sight. As you smile at another divine coincidence, heaven smiles too, saying, they got it. They understand. They know I'm near. Chosen one. Heaven has a way of revealing how deeply you are loved in moments you least expect. There will come a day when you realize that you are not just seen by God, you are known by Him in ways too detailed to comprehend. Your quirks, your laugh, your habits, even your silent thoughts, they all make heaven smile. There's a reason God calls you His favorite joke. It's not mockery. It's affection. You make heaven laugh. Not because you stumble, but because you never stop trying. You are the living proof that grace never fails. You may wonder, how could I be heaven's laughter when I'm so flawed? But that's exactly why heaven laughs. Because you, imperfect and fragile, still carry divine fire in your heart. Every time you rise from failure, every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, every time you believe again after being disappointed, heaven erupts in joy. The laughter of heaven isn't the sound of ridicule, it's the celebration of grace outlasting guilt. God calls you His favorite joke because your story keeps proving the enemy wrong. The day you were born, heaven rejoiced. But the day you began to understand grace, that's when heaven laughed. For the first time, you saw what God had seen all along, that you were never disqualified, only being prepared. Your mistakes were not tombstones, they were stepping stones. Your detours weren't delays, they were directions disguised as confusion. Every wrong turn you've taken has still led you home. Because love has been guiding your steps, Heaven watches it all unfold and says, "They still don't know how much they're loved." End quote. The Apostle David wrote words that echo through the ages, and they are whispered again over you tonight. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 6, "My mercy shall follow you all the days of your life." End quote. Do you see it? Mercy doesn't walk behind you, it chases you. It's not passive, it's relentless. Mercy doesn't quit when you do. It keeps pursuing until laughter breaks through your tears. That's why heaven laughs every time you think you've gone too far. Because God already knows His mercy is faster. His love outruns your running. You can't escape the one who calls you beloved. Heaven's laughter over you today is different. It's the laughter of victory, the sound of promises fulfilled in advance. You're still on your way, still walking through valleys and hills, but heaven sees the ending already written. You are a comedy of grace, a divine story where every tragedy finds its redemption. Even your regrets are being rewritten into reasons to worship. The pages you thought were ruined are being turned into revelation. And the author of your story can't help but laugh with joy, because what was meant to break you is now what builds you. You have to understand, chosen one, that being heaven's favorite joke means your life is a living contradiction that glorifies God. You've survived what others thought would destroy you. You've found joy in places where sorrow should have ruled. You've become light in rooms that once felt like prisons. You, the one who doubted your worth, are now carrying words that heal others. You, who once begged for love, now overflow with it. And heaven laughs because grace did what no logic could. It made beauty out of chaos. Heaven's laughter is the proof of God's confidence in His work. When you stumble, He doesn't panic, He laughs, knowing the outcome is already settled. When you fail, He doesn't withdraw, He smiles, because He knows failure can't win. You are not a problem to be fixed, you are a masterpiece in progress. God isn't waiting for you to be perfect to delight in you. He delights in the becoming. Every chapter of your life carries a different tone of His laughter, some gentle, some triumphant, all full of love. And now, chosen one, as you read these words, I want you to mark this moment with a sign of agreement, a number that symbolizes awakening, completion, and divine laughter multiplied. Comment 888 below, not as superstition, but as declaration. 8 is the number of new beginnings, and when tripled, it represents overflowing renewal, heaven's laughter in abundance. When you type 888, you're saying, I receive the joy that heaven already feels about me. You're acknowledging that mercy has found you, that grace is rewriting you, and that your story is not tragedy, it's triumph wrapped in humor divine. Let heaven see your declaration. Let the angels record your agreement. You are the punchline that silences hell's accusations, the evidence that mercy wins every time. God laughs because He knows you'll make it. Heaven laughs because it sees what you can't yet see, your crown, your calling, your eternal joy. You, beloved, are not the failure you once feared. You are the favorite story heaven loves to retell. Chosen one, there is something about your presence that shifts the air around you. You may not feel it, but heaven does. When you enter a room, the unseen trembles a little lighter. The atmosphere bends toward peace. That is because you carry the sound of joy, the very frequency of heaven that cannot be faked or forced. You've been through storms, yet your laughter still carries sunlight. You've known pain, yet your presence brings calm. That is not accident, it's anointing. You are the echo of divine joy in a world that has forgotten how to laugh. Joy has never been about circumstance, it's always been about connection. The joy you carry is not dependent on what happens around you. It flows from who lives within you. Heaven deposited that sound in your spirit long before you knew how to name it. It's the reason why, even after everything that tried to silence you, you still hum when you're alone, still find humor in the small things, still choose hope when logic says not to. The laughter inside you is not ordinary, it's prophetic. It tells the darkness that you're still here, still believing, still shining. You've probably noticed that some people are drawn to your presence without understanding why. They feel peace around you, or suddenly remember light when they had forgotten what it looked like. That's the sound of joy doing its work. It doesn't need to shout, it simply radiates. You've become a living instrument, your life strumming heaven's melody in quiet places. You speak without words, and hearts remember the sound of God's laughter through you. Joy is contagious, but not the shallow kind. True joy, the kind that heaven recognizes, comes from revelation, not denial. It doesn't ignore pain, it transforms it. You laugh not because everything is perfect, but because you've seen what happens when you trust through the fire. Your laughter carries testimony. It tells the world, I've been through the night, and I've seen the morning. That's why heaven treasures your joy so deeply. It costs something. It was refined in the furnace of tears. Sometimes you'll feel your joy tested. Life will send storms meant to drain your song, to make you forget the sound that once lifted your soul. But remember this, joy is your weapon. It's not a feeling to chase, it's a stance to hold. When you guard your joy, you guard your strength. When you laugh again, even through pain, you reclaim territory that sorrow tried to steal. Heaven watches those moments and laughs with you, because each time you choose joy, you declare darkness. You lose again. It was written in the book of Psalms, chapter 16, verse 11. In your presence there is fullness of joy. Those words are not metaphor, they're reality. Joy is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of God. When you walk with Him, your laughter becomes sacred. It's not entertainment, it's evidence. Each time joy rises within you, it's a sign that heaven is near. It's the whisper of eternity, reminding you that pain is temporary and purpose is forever. Heaven's laughter lives in you as assurance that God has not left, not even for a moment. Chosen one. Never underestimate the power of a joyful spirit. It changes things that words cannot. It disarms bitterness, melts tension, and confuses the enemy. Joy is heaven's rebellion against despair. It's the sound of victory before the battle is even over. That's why you've been attacked in your joy more than anything else, because the enemy knows that if he can silence your laughter, he can weaken your strength. But he has failed, because your laughter doesn't come from happiness, it comes from hope. You've become a carrier of joy for others too. When someone broken stands near you, they feel lighter without knowing why. That's because heaven's laughter moves through you like fragrance. You carry the sound of healing without even trying. You carry the peace of someone who knows that everything is ultimately redeemed. The world doesn't understand it, but heaven recognizes it instantly. Angels call it resonance, the sound of joy returning to the earth through one who remembers where it came from. So guard your joy. Chosen one, let nothing steal it, not disappointment, not delay, not fear. Joy is your inheritance, your crown, your secret weapon. It's what makes you unstoppable. You were never called to live quietly in despair, but to walk as a living song of laughter. When heaven looks at you, it doesn't see brokenness, it sees music. And when you smile, even faintly, heaven smiles back, saying, "That's my sound. That's my joy, returning home." Chosen one. There is a reason why darkness trembles when you smile. It's because your joy is more than emotion, it's light. And light exposes what shadows try to hide. When you laugh, the sound of heaven reverberates through the unseen, reminding every dark spirit that you cannot be broken. Joy is the language of freedom, and freedom is what darkness fears most. You may think your laughter is small or quiet, but in the spirit, it roars like thunder. You have lived through battles that tried to steal that joy. Nights when tears were your only prayer. Days when heaviness sat on your chest like armor made of stone. But you endured. You didn't just survive, you radiated. You discovered something powerful, that joy doesn't depend on circumstances but on alignment. It's not about what happens to you, it's about what you carry within. There is a holiness in laughter that few understand. It is sacred rebellion. It is the sound of the soul refusing to be crushed. It is the whisper that says, God is still good, even when everything hurts. That is why darkness flees from it. Your laughter carries authority. It's not denial, it's defiance. When you laugh in faith, you're announcing that hope still reigns. You're declaring that despair doesn't get the final word. Think of how the enemy works. He thrives on fear, division, and despair. But joy dismantles all three. You cannot live in fear while truly laughing. You cannot hate while your heart rejoices. You cannot despair while remembering who you belong to. Every time you laugh, the grip of darkness weakens. That's why God keeps restoring your joy again and again. He knows that as long as you laugh, you're fighting back. You're not only surviving, you're advancing. Heaven sees your laughter as warfare. Sometimes, joy feels like a fragile flame in the wind, flickering, threatened, uncertain. But even that small flame is enough, because light, by its very nature, cannot lose to darkness. No matter how deep the night, when a spark breaks it, you are that spark. Chosen one. The laughter in your soul is divine weaponry. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, every time you forgive instead of fight, every time you breathe out gratitude instead of complaint, you strike blows against despair. The enemy may whisper lies, but your joy silences him with truth. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, records this divine truth. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This is not just scripture, it is prophecy fulfilled in you. You are that light. The darkness that surrounded you thought it could smother you, but it failed. You were refined, not destroyed. You were shaped, not shattered. You shine not because life is perfect, but because grace lives inside you. That light your laughter, Your joy, your peace is the visible echo of heaven's laughter breaking through the veil of fear. Chosen one, never underestimate the power of your joy in a dark world. You are not naive for smiling, you are prophetic. You are announcing the kingdom of light without words. Your laughter becomes a shield for others too. Those near you feel safer. Calmer, braver. Your peace becomes contagious. You disarm anxiety by existing in joy. That is spiritual warfare at its highest form, to remain joyful in a joyless world. Darkness can't understand joy, because joy doesn't come from logic, it comes from revelation. The world says, be happy when it's over. But heaven says, rejoice in the middle. You've learned that secret. You laugh even while waiting for promises to manifest. You smile even while climbing uphill. That kind of faith confuses the enemy. He expects tears, but hears laughter instead. He expects Zurande, but sees strength. That's why you are a threat, because your joy keeps your armor shining. There will always be moments that try to steal your light. Disappointment, loss, delay. But every time you return to joy, you prove that your spirit belongs to heaven, not to circumstance. You may cry for a night, but laughter will always find its way back to you. Because heaven's laughter is eternal, it doesn't fade. It doesn't tire. It doesn't leave you. It echoes through your soul until even the shadows remember they have no power here. So when the night comes again, don't be afraid to laugh, even quietly, even through tears. That laughter is not denial, it's declaration. It says, God's not finished. It says, light still wins. It says, I am still chosen. Darkness can't stand that kind of confidence. It flees because your joy carries the same frequency as heaven's. And as you laugh, softly or boldly, heaven laughs with you, light to light, victory to victory, eternity to eternity. Chosen one. If heaven could stand still for a moment, it would be now. The angels are watching, not in judgment, but in awe, because you've made it through what should have crushed you. You've endured fires, floods, and silence, and yet your light still burns. Heaven's standing ovation rises not for your perfection, but for your perseverance. You are the melody that kept playing when the orchestra fell silent. You are the breath that refused to give out when the storm raged longest. Heaven celebrates you, because endurance is the purest form of worship. You see, there is something sacred about still standing after everything. It's not just survival, it's testimony. You didn't crawl your way here alone. Unseen hands lifted you. Grace carried you. And love guarded your steps. You didn't just overcome circumstances, you overcame despair. You learned to walk with hope, even when your legs trembled, and heaven watched every step, cheering you on, saying, look, they're still going. The applause you feel in your spirit tonight is not imagination. It's heaven saying, well done, beloved, keep shining. What was meant to bury you became the soil of your growth. What was meant to silence you became the reason you sing. And what was meant to kill your faith became the birthplace of your testimony. Heaven has been recording it. All the quiet obedience, the late-night prayers, the laughter through pain. Nothing was wasted. Your story is a song the angels can't stop replaying. You have become evidence that grace works, that faith sustains, that love never fails. There's a verse carved into eternity that captures this moment. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Heaven's laughter over you is proof of that truth. The weapons were real. The wounds were deep. But the victory is greater. You're standing as living proof that light cannot be extinguished. The battle scar on your heart has become your crown. Every blow meant to destroy you has shaped you into a vessel heaven delights to fill. Chosen one. If your life feels quiet now, it's not emptiness. It's the sound of victory settling. The noise of the storm has faded, and what remains is peace, deep and steady. Heaven is not just applauding your endurance, it's preparing your next stage. The applause is not the ending, it's the beginning of glory. Every no you endured was paving the way for a yes that will echo for generations. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was sacred rehearsal. Imagine yourself as a candle that has survived the wind. Your flame may flicker, but it still burns, and that small light pushes back miles of darkness. Or imagine yourself as a tree planted by living waters. The storms stripped your leaves, but your roots dug deeper. And now you stand unshakable. These are the images heaven sees when it looks at you, not failure, not fatigue, but faith in motion. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are a witness of endurance. And because this message carries heaven's applause, let this moment be more than reflection. Let it become participation. If these words have stirred something in your heart, let your gratitude ripple outward, like this message, not for me, but for what it represents. Another testimony that faith survives. When you share it, you become part of heaven's echo, sending that same hope into another heart that needs it. Subscribe if this space has become a sanctuary for your spirit, a place where heaven's voice meets your heart. Let your connection here be more than digital, let it be spiritual. And if you feel led, donate, not as transaction, but as seed. Think of it as adding another string to heaven's instrument. Every contribution, small or great, becomes part of the music that keeps this message reaching further. You're not just giving to a voice, you're helping light travel to souls who think the fire has gone out. You can also leave a comment below your own note of gratitude. Your prayer, your short Amen. Words have weight in the spiritual realm. When you write, heaven reads, maybe your story will strengthen another, or your thank you will be the whisper someone needs to hear to keep going. This isn't just interaction, it's ministry, flowing through pixels and screens, guided by grace. Chosen one. You've come so far. Heaven's standing ovation is not just for what you've done, but for who you've become. Resilient, radiant, ready. You have walked through wilderness and come out carrying water. You have wrestled with night and come out shining with dawn. You are not the same as you were when this began. You are lighter, stronger, freer. And as heaven watches, its laughter turns into applause that rolls like thunder, saying, they did it. They kept the faith. They're still here. Let the sound of that heavenly applause fill your soul. Let it remind you that you're not finished, you're favored. The stage lights of eternity are on you now, and heaven leans forward, smiling, saying, keep shining. Chosen one. The next act of glory begins with you. Chosen one. Every story has its turning point, the place where sorrow meets meaning, where chaos begins to make sense. This is yours. You have walked through valleys so deep that you lost sight of the sky. But the climb has led you to a view that heaven always saw. You stand at the edge of understanding now, where everything that once felt broken suddenly aligns. You begin to see that none of it was random. Every delay was direction. Every heartbreak was redirection. And every silence was God shaping something sacred inside you. This is what heaven calls the divine comedy of redemption. Not comedy as the world defines it, but divine irony, the moment when pain becomes purpose, when defeat becomes triumph, when tears become laughter. God has been writing your story in a way that will make sense only when you reach the end of the chapter. And now, as you look back, you can almost hear him laughing softly, saying, "You see, I never forgot you. I was working even when you thought I was silent." No, the laughter of heaven isn't careless, it's confident. It knows that redemption always wins. Every time you thought it was over, heaven laughed because it already saw the restoration ahead. It's the same laughter that echoed over the empty tomb, the same laughter that rang through creation when light first pierced darkness. You are part of that eternal rhythm, the divine pattern of loss and resurrection. What was meant to break you has built you into something indestructible. The scars that remain are no longer reminders of pain, but of purpose fulfilled. Think of your life as a mosaic. Up close, the fragments seem jagged, confusing, even ugly. But step back, and you begin to see the design, the beauty hidden in the brokenness. That's what redemption does. It turns the shattered pieces into a masterpiece. Heaven's laughter is the sound of that revelation breaking through, the joy of realizing that nothing was wasted, that every fragment had a place in the design. You were never falling apart. You were being rearranged. The ancient promise still holds true. It is written in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Not some things, all things. The failures, the rejections, the misunderstandings, the waiting, all of them are part of a divine equation whose sum is glory. Heaven doesn't panic when you fall. It smiles, because grace already calculated redemption into the formula. Even your missteps become part of the choreography. Your detours, part of the direction. Chosen one. You are living proof that redemption is not just a concept, it's a living force. You've been in situations that made no sense. But looking back, you can see that each one shaped a piece of the person you've become. You learned empathy through pain, strength through loss, and discernment through disappointment. Heaven laughs because it sees you now stronger, wiser, radiant, and remembers how you once doubted you would make it here. That laughter is the joy of a father proud of his child's becoming. There's beauty in divine irony. The very places where you cried the hardest are now the places where you comfort others. The moments that broke your heart are now the wells of your compassion. The paths that confused you have become the maps you use to guide others home. You have been redeemed so deeply that your pain has transformed into purpose. Heaven's laughter is the sound of victory, echoing through your life. Victory not over others, but over despair itself. Understand this. Redemption doesn't erase your past, it reclaims it. It doesn't deny what happened, it gives it meaning. Every wound, once surrendered, becomes an altar. Every regret becomes wisdom. Every closed door becomes protection. Heaven laughs not because life is easy, but because love has the final word. Grace always has the last laugh. And now, when heaven looks at you, it no longer sees the broken child who doubted, but the warrior who believed again. You've learned that God's laughter is never cruel. It's the sound of restoration completed. It's the father watching his child dance again after the storm. You've joined heaven's rhythm. Now you can feel it in your peace, in your gratitude, in the quiet certainty that your story is holy. Chosen one. This is the moment heaven has been waiting for, the full circle, the culmination of every tear, every trial, every hidden prayer. Heaven leans close now, not to test you, but to whisper the sweetest truth of all. You made me laugh again. The voice of God doesn't speak this as a casual phrase. It comes with the weight of eternity, spoken in joy, wrapped in pride. You are the masterpiece of His mercy, the living echo of His humor and grace. You are the proof that light never loses. You didn't know it, but all along, heaven's laughter was your background music. Every time you stumbled and rose again, every time you cried but still sang, every time you felt forgotten but kept walking, heaven was laughing softly, lovingly, saying, they still believe. That laughter wasn't distant, it surrounded you. It held you steady when the world shifted beneath your feet. It was the unseen warmth that kept your spirit from breaking. And now, that same laughter crowns you, wrapping around your life like sunlight after rain. God's laughter is not the sound of amusement, it's the sound of victory completed. It is love, exhaling after long labor, joy breaking through the soil of sorrow. Heaven laughs because it recognizes the moment of completion, the hour when your pain no longer defines you. You have crossed the valley, endured the wilderness, climbed the mountain. The shadows that once whispered against you now fade behind your radiance. The same God who once wept with you now rejoices through you, declaring, it is finished and it was worth it. The words of Christ, spoken once on the cross, now echo gently through your spirit. It is finished. The same power that closed that chapter of redemption now seals yours. Heaven laughs not because the journey was easy, but because the outcome was guaranteed. You were never beyond reach, never beyond repair, never beyond purpose. The divine laughter that fills eternity is God's final response to every lie ever spoken against your destiny. It was written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 23. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. That is the sound of heaven's laughter turned into words. It is not just a greeting, it's an invitation. The joy of your Lord is not a distant place, it is the very atmosphere you now breathe. You have entered it. Chosen one, not because you were perfect, but because you were faithful. Every time you said yes to love, yes to hope, yes to truth, you were stepping closer to this joy. Heaven's laughter is the melody of that joy, endless, holy, eternal. Take a moment and let your soul listen. The laughter you hear in your heart, now it isn't imagination. It's the sound of your Father's delight. He laughs because He sees you, radiant, free, restored. He laughs because He knows you finally understand that every pain had purpose, that every delay was divine timing, that every storm was part of your rising. Heaven's laughter is your inheritance, the joy that can never be stolen, the peace that cannot be shaken. Chosen one. Look back over your journey. See how far you've come. You once doubted your voice, and now your words carry light. You once feared being forgotten, and now heaven speaks your name with affection. You once cried alone, and now the same tears have watered the gardens of countless hearts. You were never simply surviving, you were sowing. You were never wandering, you were being led. Heaven laughs because it sees how beautifully the plan unfolded. Even when you could not see the map, every promise God ever made to you still stands. His laughter is proof of that. The laughter of heaven is prophecy fulfilled. Love, triumphant. Destiny sealed. It rolls through eternity like thunder softened by compassion, saying, "My child made it home." The angels who once guarded your steps now join the celebration. Every struggle that once brought silence now resounds with music. You are standing in the very joy that was promised. Heaven's laughter is endless, and now you are part of it. You've become its echo, its instrument, its living sound. When you smile, heaven's laughter ripples again. When you forgive, it grows louder. When you love, it dances through creation. You are no longer merely the recipient of joy, you are its reflection. You are the melody of redemption, the rhythm of grace, the laughter of God made flesh and faith. So rest now. Chosen one. The battle is no longer yours. The striving ceases, but the song continues. Heaven's final laugh is not an ending, it is the eternal beginning. It is love, fulfilled. It is destiny, completed. It is joy, alive. And as you stand in the light of the one who never stopped smiling at you, you will hear it once more, not in thunder, not in wind, but in the gentle voice of eternity itself, saying, "You made me laugh again." Chosen one. If these words have reached the quiet corners of your heart, it is because heaven wanted you to remember one last truth. God still smiles when he thinks of you. His laughter still echoes through your story, through every healed wound, through every renewed hope. You are living proof that grace wins, that light outlasts darkness, and that laughter is the language of the redeemed. Now, let this moment flow beyond you, like this message, not as routine, but as a gentle amen, a whisper that says, "I receive this joy." When you share it, you're carrying heaven's laughter into someone else's storm. Subscribe if you wish to keep walking this journey of divine reminders, where words become warmth and faith becomes fuel. And take a breath to comment below. Write what stirs within you, your gratitude, your lesson, your thank you. Lord, when you put it in writing, heaven reads it too. This isn't just an ending, it's the continuation of heaven's laughter through you. Every heart you touch from here, every smile you cause, becomes part of that same melody. Keep shining. Chosen one. Keep laughing. The world still needs the sound you carry,